Unit 2, Gateway. Looking out the bus window, Jonas could not stay calm. He had been looking forward to this field trip. It was the first field trip for his history course. His history professor had recommended it to the class, and Jonas had signed up enthusiastically. He was the first to board the bus in the morning. The landscape looked fascinating as the bus headed to Alsace. Finally arriving in Alsace, after 3 hours on the road, however, Jonas saw nothing but endless agricultural fields. The fields were vast, but hardly appealed to him. He had expected to see some old castles and historical monuments, but now he saw nothing like that awaiting him. "What can I learn from these boring fields?" Jonas said to himself with a sigh. Exercise 1. I was once out in the foothills of the Ebs Mountains near my home in southern Montana when I saw a front of windy and snowy weather coming toward me. Because of the open nature of that part of the upper Yellowstone River Valley, I was able to see the storm coming from a long distance away. But I was so far out on an exposed hillside that I wasn't able to make it to cover before the blizzard hit. The slope where I was hiking was vegetated only with grass and sagebrush, so I started for a north-facing and timbered slope a mile or so away. Because the bare hillside was steep and already snow-covered, the going was slow, so I didn't make it off the slippery slope before the blizzard hit. The wind hit with such force that I couldn't stand upright, and there was so much falling and blowing snow I couldn't see much either. All I could do for some period of time was crouch down and wait. Exercise 2. My first morning in New York, I put on my girl writer dress and heels and went to meet my editor, looking forward to a promising day. I figured we would start editing together that very morning, and then he could give me the last of the advance. It would turn out that I had bounced back from this devastating setback, and that truth and beauty had once again triumphed. Everyone would be so shocked to hear that this book had almost been thrown away. But my hopes were shattered when my editor said, "I'm sorry." I looked at him quizzically. "I am so sorry," he said, "but it still doesn't work." I sat there staring at him as if his face were melting. I kept touching my forehead, the way you would pat your head to make sure your hair is okay. Then I started to cry and told him I had to go right that very second. He told me to phone him the next day. I said I would, although I had no intention of actually doing so. Exercise 3. In those more hopeful and innocent days, there was much to enjoy about being newly a queen. Not only that I had survived against the odds to inherit. I still remember the sensation of the royal white fur collar around my neck. I put my cheek to it, and the fur seemed strangely warm against my skin. The grand garment smelt faintly of beeswax and the softest leather. Unable to resist, I buried my features in it and laughed with delight. It was thrilling to know that such luxury was mine. My ladies laughed with me, equally delighted. They could not wear the elegant clothes and jewelry that, as queen, I wore, even a queen with her hair as yet unbrushed. But their circumstances as my attendants were vastly better now that I was queen. Exercise 4. About 3 months ago, my sister was having problems with her daughter, Amy. So my sister and I decided to have Amy move in with my family. We thought she could benefit from a change of environment. Sadly, almost instantly, my relationship with Amy started to fall apart. She tried to verbalize her need for limits and boundaries in the home and for time spent alone together. However, our conversations quickly spiraled out of control. Instead of remaining supportive of her when she would get excited, I minimized her feelings by telling her to grow up. I expected her to understand the cause of her fears. Also, I expected her to magically allow herself to be a part of a loving family. It wasn't that simple for her, and I should not have reacted to Amy's emotions. She needed a safe space to calm down, but I didn't give her that and didn't listen to her better. I should have respected her perspective and demonstrated that I was understanding of her fears. I should have allowed her to adjust to sharing space with my family.